the strings.
Is that a Supra? Alright guys, so if you didn't watch yesterday's video or the day before's video of dynoing this thing, we took it up to M-Spec Performance and we made really good power and a lot of torque for this thing. Way more than I thought we were going to do torque-wise. We actually made 50 more torque than we did horsepower, almost. But if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We had a little bit of an issue on the drive home. It was about a 2-hour drive home where we basically, the factory alternator just couldn't keep up with the demand of the fuel pumps and the radiator fans, the electric power steering, and basically we threw a belt. And so Casey brought us a belt. We swapped on the new alternator, drove home, no issues. We made it home in record time, so this thing is it's ripping. I think it's road trip ready. So anyhow, we tried sliding it around in the parking lot right after that, as soon as we swapped it in the belt. And you'll see one of the things that I was missing was angle. So we have a solution for that today. So that is this right here. So this is basically the angle kit that Justin Pollock or JTP runs on his Formula Drift Pro 1 car. The only difference is it's missing the offset strut tower top things to kind of get the track width a little bit wider. And this is just to kind of dial it down for the street. So basically what we'll do is we'll run it shorter. So instead of having it like 60 mil wider than it currently is, we'll basically run it all the way in, so we'll have a little bit more clearance for the fenders, just so that the tires are not sticking out like super crazy. So we're going to install that. We have some solid diff bushings. We have some Delrin subframe bushings. We have some camber arms. We have vertical links. We have toe arms. We have these little bushings that go in the rear lower control arm, which there's a lot of deflection in that rear front bushing. And so we're going to throw that in there. And if you didn't see this thing right here, this is as a trailer hitch, and we're going to go shopping. So before we get started with installing all that stuff, one of the other issues that we had is as soon as we left the shop, it melted the lower wastegate line. So I was using these push lock fittings right here with this red hose, and you can see, where'd it go? Right here. Basically it melted that fitting and it just popped out. So that happened once on the dyno for the actual boost reference, and it it over boosted, but it hit the boost cut, so it saved it. So we swapped it out to a silicone line and just a normal push fitting, and so that's basically the same thing I'm going to do right now. So we weren't actually able to hit full boost on the way home, so we were only able to hit, it was about 10 pounds, and then it would creep up to about 16, but we weren't able to feel that massive torque number that we got on the dyno. So I'm going to go ahead and swap this fitting out for a different one. And the other thing is the brake booster. So when I installed the clutch pedal something, I think I might have messed up the diaphragm in the rear, because right now we have a massive leak, like a big old vacuum leak right there at the brake booster, and you could just hear it like leaking almost kind of behind the booster, like in the cabin. So we're gonna go ahead and get that fixed, and I want to take this for a drive real quick on full power, when the suspension is all aligned and kind of stock stuff, just to feel the power, because we haven't felt it on the street yet. And I guess that's it. But I'm really stoked for this thing. It is Wednesday. We are leaving Monday for the road trip, so we got a lot of things to get going. But appreciate you guys watching, and let's get working. All right, so first drive on full power. Let's get this thing. Had to push the brake harder. Excited.
But don't hit me on no dumb shit. Working on the weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual.
Alright, let's see what this puppy's got. freaking spinning these, I mean, they're a little cold, but you know, 305s or 315s or whatever you want to call them. Oh, we need to go drift it now. Man, that torque is crazy. This stock angle. Crazy. Literally nothing. That's like 20 degrees. Yeah, no wonder this thing freaking spins out. This is how I'm holding the steering wheel, so it's all the way over. But so we're gonna go ahead, throw this bad boy up on the lift, and we're gonna throw the freaking angle kit on the front. And probably drop the subframe and do a bunch of other stuff. This thing absolutely freaking rips. I can't believe what a difference from like 10 pounds, just all that boost coming in. Because what was happening before is the wastegate would basically crack at 6 pounds and progressively just keep opening until you got to like 14 pounds. Whereas this thing, it freaking keeps the wastegate shut, like it adds boost to the top of the wastegate until you get to like 24 pounds. And then it's a freaking party. So it's, oh man, I was a little worried last night. It felt like a stock 1J almost, like just because the car is so heavy. I mean, 10 pounds, that like the turbo's not even in its efficiency range right now. Like 24, it's like, how you doing? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get some angle on this thing so I can actually drift it. Finished installing the angle kit. Hold on, Dave. So you can see it's got a lot of camber on it. That's probably like 5 or 6 degrees. That's a decent amount. So I haven't adjusted these strut tops, so with the BC coilovers in the front, I could basically come more over this way to take some of that camber out so we're not wearing tires. But go ahead and go to full lock, Dave. So, and it is on the 20s right now, so it basically rubs the frame. Keep going. When it stops, yeah. Right there. Okay. So this is full lock. So if you guys remember what we had before, you could barely see the front of the tire. I don't even think you could see the front of the tire. So if you look right here, and then the trailing wheel has a lot more, like way more than it did before. So I guess you could go ahead and go back straight. So on the inside of the steering rack, like in the dust boots, there's kind of these little lock spacer things to kind of limit the rack from traveling as far. And but what we're basically running into right now is when you turn it all the way in, the trailing wheel actually hits the frame rail on the inside. So I think a lot of that has to do with that it's on 20-inch wheels. So I have some 18s over there. So this might be like a little bit of a wheel reveal for you guys too. So I have so Koenig sent out not a lot of wheels, but a decent amount of wheels. We basically have 9 wheels for this event. So we have 6 for the back, and then we have 3 for the front, just in case I have an issue with one of the front ones or if I break one. then we actually have like a replacement front wheel. So I'm gonna go ahead, I guess I'll go ahead and show you. So this is a rear. So this is an 18 by 9.5. This is the Freeform, the B profile, so it has a nice concave to it, and then 18 by 8 in the front, so or 8.5 in the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount a tire on that, or 2 tires on the front wheels, throw the 18s on the front, and then adjust the steering, adjust it so that we get a lot more angle out of it. So because the 20s swing a lot further, whereas the 18s won't go as far in, so we should be able to get a lot more angle. This is under the car, and you can see basically right there the tires just rubbing on the frame rail. So we have we honestly have a little bit more travel in the rack too, so if we have more less wheel, we should be able to get more angle. So got the Koenig wheels on it right now in the front. I had a lot of camber, and I mean a lot, so you can see took a lot of that out on this side, and this is pretty much what we started with right there. So look at that, look how crazy. I mean, that's freaking chopped. So what I did is right here on the top of these strut towers, there was basically these things, so you couldn't get to any of this stuff. So this was right here, and you couldn't get to anything. So, and if you were to take all the camber out, you'd have to cut that anyhow. So I just cut the whole thing so you could actually get to the bolts and actually adjust it. And that's basically what I did on this side, was loosen it up, pulled it back. But yeah, just use the hole saw, cut all that stuff out. This is like 3 times reinforced. There's like 3 layers of stuff right there. So it should be plenty strong. I just think, I don't know why they did that. Maybe just so it looked pretty, and you know, obviously they didn't have camber adjustment on the stock coilovers or the stock suspension. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out, and I've already tested the angle, and it's pretty crazy. The angle at full lock now. That's a lot of angle. So the car is super low right now. I'll move this steering wheel straight. I have to have 2 blocks of wood underneath there, basically 2x4s, because when I sat it down at first, the wheel was spinning. When I sat it down on the second block of wood, it wasn't going all the way up, and it was still on the lift. So then I had to put 2 blocks of wood in there. So this, I'm definitely gonna have to raise it up on 18. So this is an actual representation of how much angle it will get. So I raised the coilovers about 1.5 inches on each side, and now on one set of blocks, we're able to get off of the lift. And look at this. So that's the trailing wheel. So that's a lot of trailing angle. If we look over here, this is the lead. Look at that. Get it right there. I mean, before you couldn't even see this much of the 20-inch tire that was on the front over here. Now look at all this. So that's just crazy. That is a lot of angle, especially for kind of a street kit. So I think raising it, putting the 18s on it, and then pulling over this whole situation right there is crazy. So on the competition setup, it uses a offset strut tower. So basically you would take this top of the coilover, and it goes over here to pretty much right up there in the corner, and then you extend the lower control arms, I think about 60 mil, which is I think about a little over 2 inches, making it a lot wider, but you have to have wide body fenders for that, or run your car super monster truck. So that kit does like 74 degrees of angle, and right now we could get more, but we are rubbing on the frame rail with the tire over here. So it's basically pressed up against the frame rail over there. So if we really wanted to, you know, we could extend it out a little bit more. We just have to run a little bit more camber. Since we're gonna be running on the street so much, I don't want very much camber. So yeah, looks super sick. It's crazy to see this thing with that much angle compared to when it literally like had none from the factory. So that's gonna be it for the front. I wanna throw the different wheels on it on the rear, maybe set it down and then drive around the parking lot, maybe do a donut or something for you guys. And then we still do have to do a bunch of this suspension stuff right here, but I'm not sure if that'll carry into another video or not, but super stoked. Look at all that angle. Oh, and I gotta put the sway bar in links on too. Sitting all pretty on the new wheels. Raised the front quite a a bit just to, you know, these wheels do stick out a little bit, but check out this angle. Look at that. That's insane. So it falls back just a little bit. That's just crazy. The trailing wheels is awesome too. I just can't wait to feel it. It's really dark outside and really cold. So I'll come back here tomorrow and I'll have somebody else film me kind of messing around in the parking lot with this thing, but super freaking, this Chasey Mustang is just so awesome. So I guess I lied about not wanting to test it out tonight because tomorrow all the neighbors are gonna be here till like 5 o'clock. There's not very much parking space outside, so I was like, well, we might as well pull it outside. But it feels really freaking good. So that's the first time I've actually kind of been confident in the car. You know, I mean, kind of the first time I've drifted it, because when it was automatic, you rip the e-brake, it doesn't do anything. It's super sketchy because it's auto and it's like locking and unlocking and doing a bunch of weird stuff. This, you have a clutch, you have an e-brake, I have angle, I can do a bunch of crazy stuff with it. Yeah, it feels really good. It's insanely dusty, I got a bunch of crap in my eyes, but it's gonna be it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, hit that notification bell. If you guys like this project, give it a thumbs up, comment, and tell your buddies about freaking Motion Auto. Put a freaking Mustang in a 2J, and now we got a crazy angle, and we're gonna go on and drive it 4,000 miles cross country on Monday. So see you guys later.